Here we go. Yeah, no, you can't say that, man. Should I get deleted?
Oh, I get deleted. You get flagged.
It would definitely get flagged, yeah.
But that would be attention.
I don't think so, man. So
You just
when you get
disappear
flagged,
in the
yeah, your
ether.
shit gets disappeared, man.
Well,
So it gets China'd.
well, based on the current analytics, that would mean one of you guys flagged it.
No, the machine
yeah.
will flag it. So
Can't flag
The
it.
algorithm.
absolutely it
Oh,
can.
the algorithm.
What, the G word?
Yeah, of course it would.
No, because then what he could say, like,
Have a gay all the time.
right.
Yeah, okay,
that's
well,
the
let's try it and
nonsense.
see. He just said it, so there we go.
It's the
In
lyric.
2 days, it will get transcribed, and then in 3 days, we'll know.
No, because that would be the same thing. You have to be able to say that Ellen Page is gay.
Is she?
Well, she was. Now she's
Was that
a
Shadowcat?
guy. Yeah,
She's a guy?
she's a guy now.
Really?
Evidently, the pictures look really.
I don't even know who Ellen Page is. Who is that?
Well, her big role was Juno. She was Juno in Juno, and then
What is Juno?
Juno was a brilliant movie about a teenage girl that gets pregnant by Michael Cera, and she ends up keeping the kid but giving it up for adoption to.
Oh, so it's a serious movie.
Well, sort of. It's more of a comedy than anything else.
Oh,
yeah.
but it's not like a Marvel movie or something.
No.
Oh,
No.
Shadowcat. She was Shadowcat in one of the Marvel movies.
got it. Okay, so that's where Marvel
Well,
comes
two.
in.
Two. Yes.
Two that I can remember. Maybe even three.
Wait.
Well, she was in Days of Future Past, and she
Yeah.
was also in The Last Stand.
Was she?
Yep.
I know.
You just don't remember that movie because the movie was bad. You have.
Who was she in The Last Stand?
She was Kitty Pryde, but she wasn't in like Kitty. Remember the? Well, yeah, because
The Last Stand was like 20 years ago, wasn't it?
Oh,
yes,
jeez.
yes, but she was playing a very, very young Kitty Pryde. Remember, she's the one that pulls the
Oh,
juggernaut
that's
into the
right.
floor.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
But she's in the movie. It's just
right.
not a very good movie. You don't
No,
remember
it was-
parts of it because it was dumb.
It was a terrible movie.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with terrible movies, I guess. So
Can we talk about terrible
no,
movies?
man, I don't
Man.
want to talk about terrible movies.
No,
man.
you can.
I'm looking forward to Dune now. You got me excited for it. So
Dune's
anyway,
out now.
welcome.
Yeah.
Coffee before bed. Before we get too deep into this, I'm Pat.
I'm Will.
I'm Jeffrey, and we're talking about terrible movies. So we'll come back to Dune if we want to.
Is it going to be a movie podcast now?
I saw Venom too.
A whatever podcast.
Right. Okay.
It goes. It's organic.
Guy at work said Dune was amazing, but he didn't read the book. So he's like, I don't know if it's on point or off.
He
But-
did not read the book.
Did not.
Oh,
So he's just like,
he's better
for
for
me,
it.
it was like, okay.
Well,
But he said he's seen some of the reviews that the people that have read the book don't like
The
it.
people who read the book don't like any of the movies. So
I've read the book and I love the 1984 version.
yeah, I think you're kind of an exception. Dude.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know anybody else that likes it.
It's okay. It's an eccentric crowd, but the question is, why do people like it if they do like it? And it's not because of its adherence to the book. It is because it is weird.
It is
and
weird.
I love the weird.
Yeah, you've proven that.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie where you embrace the weird. So with the chest plugs and everything.
Not in
So-
the book.
Not in the book. Yeah.
I can't prove it, but I do not remember them milking a cat in the book.
They
either.
did not milk a cat in the book, and he couldn't float around if I
No, it
recall.
just kept his fat ass up, right? It just,
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It made it because he couldn't walk without it,
Right.
But he couldn't float around.
Yeah, he wasn't Iron Manning around the place.
So he absolutely was not. But yeah, the bizarre aesthetic, every single scene of Dune 84 makes me uncomfortable in a great way.
What about the shields, the prisms?
Looks like shit.
Yeah, it looks
any-
terrible, man.
Anything that they tried to actually make look like a special effect looks like crap. But everything,
Oh, I don't know. The sandworm coming up and eating the harvester from
No.
its Tiberium crystals or whatever.
Well,
Wait a minute, I'm getting my wires crossed.
the same
It's
game
spikes.
studio,
Spikes,
yeah.
yeah.
Spice.
Yeah. Well, no. Okay, so but those are all like the practical effects and the set design and all that stuff, right? All of that looks cool. The they didn't use like the modules in the book, if I recall. They didn't need that to actually shoot the weird looking stupid
The
lasers.
modules? What are you talking about?
Where they use their voices as a weapon.
Oh, that's in the book.
No, but they didn't have to. The Muad'Dib didn't have to use one of those.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
No.
Yeah.
And-
I don't know, man. It's been 20 years since I read that book. But
I'm sure, and the way that they painted those goofy lasers and stuff is pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's
And that movie post-dates Star Wars. You think they'd get that right. So,
that's what David Lynch directed instead of Return of the Jedi. They offered it to him.
I didn't know that.
And a David Lynch Return of the Jedi could have been the most incredible thing.
He could have also killed Star Wars as we know it.
And I'd have been sitting there as the one lone fan of great direction.
Right, yeah. I think George Lucas himself would have come out and erased that one.
Quite possible, but I mean, he would have come to him with the same designs, and just thinking of what David Lynch would have done with, say, like Jabba the Hutt or, something like that would have been terrifying.
Maybe, I don't know, man. That wasn't made for kids, though, then. So
What, Dune?
No, Star Wars. If David Lynch had made it, it would not have been a kids movie.
The Ewoks in Return of the Jedi were 100% made for children.
You're not. I get it. If it had been David Lynch's movie, it would not have been made for kids.
Actually, I hate to actually you.
You just did.
But this was something I just discovered recently, so I have to share.
Okay.
Because I would never have thought. Dune 1984 was meant for children.
What the? How?
You can go on eBay and you can find Dune lunch boxes. Like the plastic ones with like cartoony shit. Like it would say like Heathcliff,
But-
only it's Dune.
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's supposed to be for
They had
kids.
lunch boxes of
Right.
like the car that jumped over like General Lee and all those things.
Yeah, they had
no,
lunchboxes for everything,
Yeah.
though, man. I don't
This
think that
was-
movie was marketed towards kids specifically. I
It
think it
was-
just rode the bandwagon.
Specifically made with
What-
kids in mind.
What
with
stuffed
heart
animal was
plugs?
made?
Oh, what stuffed animal would you make in Dune?
Nothing. That's the point.
Yeah. I'd have a giant, like, 6-foot long sandworm with, like, felt teeth on the front. I don't know.
But you just said Ewoks, stuffed animals.
I don't know. I know that they were made for kids, but the kids didn't really want the Ewoks anyway. They wanted
Lightsabers.
they wanted lightsabers, and that's where everybody had one of the chicken walkers, right?
Oh, yeah.
The one that you press the button and it would make the and it would make it walk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a classic Star Wars situation. Is they make things that are for kids, but no, the kids don't actually like the kid stuff. There were people. Okay, that's not entirely fair. There was a Forest of Endor playset that I knew a few people
I remember
had.
that.
The one that was the tree playset.
Yeah, it was like a tripod thing with... Like,
Yeah. I wouldn't have ever gotten that. I would have never asked for it, but I know some people had it.
I don't think I had any Star Wars growing up. My wife did. She still has her job with the Hutt somewhere. So...
How's that happening?
What?
Why does it say 2?
That's because somebody's watching it right now, that poor bastard.
What are you doing? Like, the Boston game is still on.
Yeah.
The Red Sox are still playing.
Are they going to die tonight?
Yeah, they're done.
What inning was it?
The 8th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have what it takes to score 10 runs in an inning, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not excited about seeing the Astros in the series, man. So
you're going to be a Braves fan?
no, man, I don't know, man. I guess I'm agnostic this year now. So
I get that.
know,
I get
It's
that a
not
lot,
the
yeah.
way. No, I'm rooting for like the planes to crash if that's how I feel about it.
really, you want a 9/11 a stadium just because you don't have a team that you don't
Like when it was the when it's two teams. I guess not if it's just two teams I don't like. But if it's like it was the Patriots and God, one of them.
The
where I-
Falcons.
No, 'cause
Falcons?
I was cool with the Falcons
Right.
because I liked them from Deion Sanders' time.
Does Deion Sanders play for them now?
No, but I always had a.
Does he show
Like
up at
for him.
like charity events?
And what else had the Falcons done since Deion left?
Absolutely.
Oh, they had the Dirty Bird.
they did.
They did have the Dirty Bird.
That-
Yeah.
That's not.
And I was a fan then. I don't even when they lost the Broncos, but I mean I wasn't gonna pull for them then, but I was definitely gonna pull for them against Minnesota. Minnesota could have beat us.
I just wouldn't watch the Falcons versus Minnesota.
I mean, it's still a
No,
Super
that was-
Bowl. I'm still gonna watch it.
Well, no, that's the two NFC teams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Got it.
Minnesota was like unstoppable that year. They could have beat us.
Is
Yeah,
that the
they
Dante
could've.
Culpepper years?
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
when
good.
they,
That was
that was
Culpepper.
when they were scoring like 1 billion points.
That,
Yeah.
that had to be Moss Culpepper.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Moss was
Okay.
money
And Chris
in your
Carter.
fantasy league.
And Robert
Chris
Smith.
Carter was still there. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
an offensive juggernaut, and then Gary Anderson had to miss a field goal, which sent the Falcons to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
And-
what they caught us.
Oh,
And they were
okay, yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
God dang, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was. It was
Yeah.
turn of the dang century.
But I mean, yeah,
Right, the previous century.
actually, I think it's more like when the Patriots play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. That's when I want the earth to just swallow, like just open up and
Well,
just eat the two teams.
oh, okay.
Everyone else could be fine. Just
Well, yeah, all right. Just the actual players. Like,
Yeah.
if it happens in Miami, you're not wishing death
No,
or
no,
destruction
no.
in Miami.
no.
Where is the Super Bowl being played this year?
I don't know right now.
Oh my God, a football question you don't know.
I don't know right now.
Weird.
Oh, there are definitely some questions. that
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't know. It's okay.
I think it's.
Even-
I think
Dude,
it's
I'm not
in
going to ask
LA.
you. Yeah, like,
I think it's in
football
LA because they
trivia.
just built their new stadium.
Oh, that's right. I wonder when it's going to go to Vegas. So they could go play in the giant Roomba.
Probably soon.
Yeah, it's
It was
got to
supposed
be.
to have.
Minus
supposed to
Chucky
have the
football.
draft there this year.
He says the truth will come out.
Yeah, I saw that tweet and I was kind of like, so what are you gonna? What kind of thing are you gonna gin up now? So
What
he
other-
was lying. To
Like
me.
unless you absolutely like try and fudge your emails and try and send them back into the past. You're
yeah,
like, look,
All right.
see, here's the explanation.
Okay, Mr. Cybersecurity, can he do that in a way
I-
that wouldn't be found out within 15 fucking seconds?
yeah.
Maybe if you were really, really good, I don't know.
Especially when Chucky Football is stupid enough to the message that he sent from the future to the past being, I am not actually a racist,
Right.
I'm John Gruden.
Right. Yeah. So it
this-
wasn't my car. So my brother-in-law was borrowing it.
Right. And Goodell looks at it and says, this looks legit.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What does Goodell had to say about that?
I don't think he's had to say anything.
I haven't
think
heard
this
anything.
just happened.
Yeah.
I think that's why Chucky got canned.
Oh, you think this was a private call?
Well, Goodell released it probably.
Also,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
where-
yeah,
This
yeah.
is Goodell's vengeance. He didn't have to say a word. He just pushed a button.
This,
It's like dropping bombs on Germany.
this is where the conspiracy.
That is a conspiracy.
Okay, I like it.
Because
I like
Gruden said some nasty things about Goodell in the emails.
Yes, he did.
And so
Oh,
it's just,
That's what got Control F in the first place.
hey, Mr. Reporter guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he gets 10 emails that pop in.
Yeah, is it really a leak when it comes from the commission? So what's going on with the Raiders? Who's their coach now, then?
I think they chose their special teams coordinator or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or some guy that never saw a coaching job. Well, he's been a coach for like 30 years and never got off the bench.
So he's actually good then. Yeah.
Well, every picture I've seen of him, he just looks lost. He looks so confused.
But all the players were just like, it seems so relaxed on the sideline. It was all peaceful. Like,
Yeah.
you're also up by 30 points, so
Yeah.
He doesn't make him do work or whatever.
Yeah.
well, some guy not scowling at you when he's happy, even so.
Well, that's true. It's at least he has the excuse of saying that's just my face. I'm sorry, guys, but
I think he had like 4 stitches put in there so that it just permanently.
he Frankenstein.
Yeah,
himself.
Frankenstein.
Fucking scalp will look dirty. Look mean.
Well, it's like
Look
AD
aggressive.
not shaving his unibrow.
AD.
Anthony Davis, he plays
Oh, yeah.
basketball. It's
Yeah.
called the brow.
The brow. Oh, I know who you're talking about.
It's so ugly.
Get the brow. The only other guy that I know is the beard guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got that beard that grows out from underneath his
There's-
eyes.
Well, he's the guy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Peter Griffin with the birds in his beard.
Yeah, that's true.
He looks
Yeah.
just like that beard.
Yeah. I've known a couple guys who could grow beards out from underneath their eyes. So it's kind of rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's also something that, I don't know. I guess if you can do it, you might as well do it.
Especially if it makes you kind of an icon.
Kind of an icon? Yeah, I guess in that case, it would
Because-
make him an icon.
Who else did you know in basketball?
That had a beard? I
Well,
think
who
the
else did-
mailman did. Yeah.
Who else did you just mention that you knew?
Oh, no, that's it.
See?
Yeah,
So,
I'm done.
I mean-
Come on,
Yeah.
you know LeBron James.
I know LeBron James. So,
But if somebody that never watches basketball knows somebody just
Yeah.
for that, you turn yourself
Yeah.
into an icon.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you have birds living in your beard, so be it. Tack on a few more million and call it a day.
Yeah.
Good point. Nowitzki was just that tall white guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but most people wouldn't know him.
Was it?
I would have
Well,
known
you'd
if I saw
recognize him.
I don't know, would he?
I wouldn't.
See?
Well, he wouldn't be caught dead watching basketball.
But he knows the beard.
Well, no, but
I know him from commercials.
Yeah.
oh, see,
Which of these guys get commercial deals now?
yeah. Did Dirk ever do commercials? Was he a? I don't recall him being the brand ambassador for anything. I don't recall seeing him on.
Waffle. Did I just massacre that?
No, but I get your point. Yeah. I never saw him, Nowitzkiing for Wells Fargo or 7-Eleven or.
Progressive.
Yeah.
It's like we got 6 commercial lines going. We need a 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space Jam in Europe.
Oh, gross. Sounds
I
horrifying.
saw an article about
So,
how
What is my. Oh.
I saw an article about how bad Space Jam, like the current one, is, and why no one cares that it actually.
that's the one with
happened.
LeBron, right?
Yeah. They're just like, well, you chose cartoons that aren't really like lighting it up right now, like Looney Tunes.
I'd be surprised if some of my students even know what they are.
Right. So you
So-
chose a cartoon group that isn't for the kids right now.
Yeah.
And then you chose basketball, which isn't that in right now.
Yeah.
And LeBron, who either you like him or you despise him, versus the 80s when it's Michael.
Oh, yeah. Universally
the
worshipped.
world was
Yeah.
happy for Michael. And Looney Tunes was great then. So even though the movie, if you watch it now, is ridiculously horrible,
Yeah.
it was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
It was bad.
No, the first one is pretty
Right.
bad, too.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm not
I mean,
watch-
it's
I'm not
at least
watching this.
it's mid '90s, so at least people would know. So, like you said, some people don't like LeBron James. Why is that?
That's my kids.
Educate me. So,
Somebody
And if it's my kids out there, hello.
says Miami next year.
Oh.
Somebody here loves Looney
Yeah.
Tunes.
That's Kelly's.
Oh. Well,
okay.
you can respond.
Hi there. Thanks for watching our podcast or listening or
Yeah.
Oh,
advertise.
you just use the
what did I
chat.
say?
No, you don't do that. Just talk. So,
So
anyway, you said some people don't like LeBron James. As someone who doesn't know anything about basketball, why is that?
because they keep saying he's better than Michael, so everybody that likes Michael
So it's just that argument.
Hey,
despises.
don't.
Well,
no.
There's all the other reasons, but this is the reason why it started. Then he got political.
Then you got what?
Political.
Oh, he's political?
Well, he's pro-China.
Oh, he is.
Well, because the NBA was pro-China, because they really wanted that market, so they were going to suck up to, like he even said, like no, he's all about Black Lives Matter, and then people would be like, well, what about all those lives in China that? And he's just like, huh? Nothing's going on over there.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Looking at his hands and whistling and shit. Yeah, it's.
And then he was calling out cops
Uh,
for like when back in the summer when they're like
The summer of riots.
right, and then the
that's
cop
the last
shot
one.
somebody.
Right.
And it instantly went all over the news that this white cop shot a black guy, And oh my god, and he's just like, that guy needs to be fired, and then it turns out,
LeBron was tweeting that
Yeah.
and stuff. Oh, okay.
and then it turns out, he did everything legit and all this kind
Yeah.
of stuff, and there was no apology, no nothing. Like,
yeah.
Oh, no, as a matter of fact, he was calling for retribution.
Right.
That was the other piece, which kind of got on my nerves. But I guess my biggest problem was you didn't kneel during China's national anthem when you were playing there.
I doubt he knew which one it was.
It's the one that's not in English
Right.
because they weren't playing ours in China.
Ours. Yeah.
well, it's the one that's writing the check as he stands up for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I don't know. Like, I don't remember him being. Well, I don't know. He's not somebody who necessarily crossed my news feed very easily. So, yeah, I think the last guy that I remember is Kobe, and that's for different
For Colorado?
reasons. Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Well, you could have also.
Oh no! For the
for-
airplane.
for-
Yeah.
Colorado's still.
Wait, the airplane?
Yeah.
The helicopter.
Helicopter.
Sorry,
Okay.
manner of exit. Yeah. So. I don't know. And
I was like,
just
did he
because
do
I
something in
happened to
an
be watching
airplane
it.
too?
I have no idea. That's right. He did get in all that trouble up in Aspen. Didn't
Yes.
He? Yeah.
It was an airborne event. He didn't walk away from it. That's all.
I thought that's what it was,
we need to
but
summarize.
you
it.
never know.
I don't want to go into the details. I feel bad for his family. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, he was my favorite, so
Oh, he was.
yeah, because he's my what if I played basketball every day of my life, because he was the exact same age as me.
Oh.
Like the birthdays, but the
Well, you're
the
like
year was-
you're like a couple weeks away from Tom Brady too. So if I'm not mistaken, he's pretty
Yeah,
close to me, and
but
I know
I
you're only like a month away
despise
from me.
that.
He still
Like,
makes a good.
I actually liked him at first because he was Michigan, and I liked Michigan, and then it was fine when he had like one ring, and he beat the Raiders to do it, even though it was cheating or however they want to call it. But
It's just an incomplete forward pass.
eh,
They made the wrong call on the field. It's still down, but it wasn't they didn't need to call a tuck. It was just an incomplete forward pass.
it was a fumble. I left the house because it was a fumble, and I was so mad that the Raiders were going to the Super Bowl. I had no idea they changed the call, and they went on to win.
Well, I can't be responsible for
I'm sure
your
this debate's gone on for a billion years for
unreasonable grumpiness, but I watched the replay. I was telling the TV to correct the call, and they did in a really weird way, in a way that was completely unnecessary, but it was just an incomplete forward pass.
Do you know the official rule now? Because it came out on Sunday night last night with Big Ben.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah.
Do you
No,
know?
I didn't. I wasn't
They
looking
have
at
an
that.
official rule now. The tuck cannot exist any longer.
Yeah. If the tip of the ball is pointing down, it's a fumble. So they had to like literally. It was like the Goofies tearing up the fucking rule book.
What, the Thursday night game, though, that had like Seattle and the Rams, where the guy punted the ball twice.
Oh, that was great.
Dude, talk about guys not knowing the rule. The guys announcing
Yeah.
were just like, you cannot punt the ball twice. I mean, this is great. You
Yeah.
can do all this. You can do all this, blah, 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 blah. And then the refs come out and they're like, it's good. You
Yeah.
can punt the ball twice. And they're like, wait, what? What's going on here? You can't do that. I
That
can
means there's
score.
like
What?
literally no rule on it. Yeah. So, yeah, no, that was pretty cool. I mean, good on him for like looking at it and just picking it up
Like,
and just
I'm going to give
like
it a go.
freaking shanking it again. I mean, it was actually pretty funny because that whole thing was, I mean, everybody was like, what happened? And they replayed it like 10 times. And they're sitting there like saying, well, maybe, I mean, nobody touched it. It's forward progress. Is less than anything of that.
Good night, our live people out there.
Yeah.
Always happy to have you.
And then the whole resolution on it was like, yeah, actually, it kind of makes sense. So the way that it worked
I
out.
don't know.
Well, it was a very unique play. I mean,
I don't think you should be able to punt the ball.
Well, maybe
twice.
not.
But
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe
But
they'll do a
they
rule.
were okay with it. I
Yeah.
guess so.
yeah.
I mean, for the once in every 20 years that it can happen, I'm just like, it's cool, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my only question is, was there specifically a rule against it? If there isn't, you let it happen and you make the rule happen.
I think they have to have a rule that says it's okay. Because, I mean, it goes to New York, so it can't be just like the three guys on the field going, is that good? I don't know. Are we allowed to do that? Did you ever read that part of the book? No, that's the part my kids drew on. I don't.
No, I get it, and I understand the litter that your kids would put on it. The problem here is there is theoretically a situation that could come up that is not covered by any rule. It's happened. At a time, you could fumble the ball forward. They had to make a rule against it.
True. That is true.
I know a guy who was related to a guy
Yeah.
who was famous for saying it wasn't illegal when I did.
Right.
So at a time, they're like, yeah, okay. We don't think we should have to define this in a rule because nobody would be scummy enough to even try this. That seems
It seems
like
like
dirty
the Patriot way.
does it? Does
It
it really?
does.
It really seems like more of a Raider thing because it was a Raider.
Yeah, they didn't go through any effort to hide it, so it definitely wasn't a Patriot.
Oh, true.
So these guys will steal your car from your office window. Hey, that's my car! You know?
I was just speaking the same thing. It was, what was the rule afterward where they said you can't trade a coach?
Wait a minute, what was that?
You can still do it. I think.
It was after they traded Gruden
Right.
to Tampa Bay.
Oh.
They said you can't do that the next year.
What do you mean traded him?
Oh, yeah, they got
they
compensation. They
yeah.
got like a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Because they give him a coach?
Yeah.
What?
They dealt him
Never
like
even
they
heard of
deal a
that.
player.
Yeah, when Gruden went to Tampa.
Yeah.
And then inherited that team that was good and
Yeah.
then rode that career for the next 25 years until last week.
Well-
Ha ha ha
Right. And then
Yeah.
Bill Callahan job couldn't get the job done in.
Callahan job, I love it.
No, I'm sorry. That was a common name from some distressed Raiders fans. Who, I'm just saying. Yeah. So afterwards, they said you can't do that.
Yeah.
I thought you could still trade him, but I guess
I guess I didn't ever thought of a coach as being on a roster, you know. So he was I just thought he's an employee, and so you were
A
like
contractor.
yeah, exactly. He's like, we're just
independent
gonna farm
contractor.
you out to, you know. So Jerry Jones is looking for an offensive coordinator. Hey, I got a guy you can run out for 6 weeks. You know.
No guy that does fences. He also coaches. So
Right.
if you, yeah, he'll also lay some tile, man. He does everything.
I think that's the Raiders coach right now.
He's a guy who lays tile. Yeah.
I did see him. There is definitely some trim carpentry in his past,
I can believe it.
one way or another. Yeah. But then again, we've said this about many coaches. We've talked about Fangio's past, and I think what did we say about that guy? He was definitely like he'd eat a whole pizza at a time.
Yeah.
He would,
Yeah, he never answers his emails, and he's one of those guys who insists on cutting his own grass on the weekends, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Spends extra amount of time at the hardware store.
he does.
Yeah.
He was the guy that anytime that you talk to him about politics, he says you got to run this country like a household.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to get the government back in budget, man.
can't
You can't
spend
live outside
more.
of your means. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and he'd constantly say little, things
Just
like that.
stupid
Yeah,
colloquialisms.
colloquialisms.
Well,
Yeah.
you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get
You're
your
gonna
haircut.
haircut,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got time to lean, you got time to clean.
Oh God,
Yeah, right, yeah.
Why do you know that one?
because I was a roughneck for a year. Well, actually, even when I was MWDing and you just go to the floor, you could hear him say that.
You got time to lean, you got time to clean.
Oh yeah.
You ever get accused of playing pocket pool?
No.
I used to get that one all the time. So, yeah. All those stupid old sayings like
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, it's people. What were the other things that people were always accused of going to the? I don't know if it's ever really happened. The circle jerk.
Oh yeah, that one's been around for years, man.
Well, of course, no, but that's
Decades.
it was always, what is this, a circle jerk?
What is this, a
And then
circle jerk?
accusing people of playing grab ass.
That's totally different. You know, that's not where you have guys there. That's when you have women there. So
No, it's plenty of times though.
Yeah, there was grab ass.
Not a girl present.
yeah, you guys got a different sense of humor than I have never been in a situation where that was okay to
It
say.
happened all the time.
In fact,
It happened.
on the railroad, that would probably get you punched. So if you had said
Yeah.
something like that,
There was plenty of stuff that was just like, huh? Really, you're the most macho guys on the planet, and you're doing those kind of. All right, okay,
Yeah, well, sometimes it was just like, put that away,
right.
because that would happen sometimes.
that's horrifying. So
No girls, man, and a lot of dudes
we
who.
didn't have any girls on the railroad, man. Well, I mean, we had a couple, but woo.
Would you have the same, like, 8 guys, 12 hours a day?
Oh Lord, no!
all just there.
No,
Yeah.
man, I saw some of my guys once every 3-4
Yeah.
months. So
These guys build up the biggest camaraderie, like
Oh yeah.
you can imagine.
No, yeah, the only place I ever had that was kind of like that was maybe, oh gosh, not even the airlines, because we would rotate out days off. So even
Right.
if you didn't like a guy, you only had to work with him 2 days a week.
Yeah, if you don't like a
'cause you
guy,
have different days off.
if you don't like a guy, and
You guys gonna have to come up with some solution, man.
Yeah,
or it's going to come to blows at some point.
cool.
Yeah, you just have to get off the property.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good-
You're,
good-
you're not allowed to throw a punch.
Yeah.
That's how somebody got fired for throwing a punch at me.
Oh, really? Actual
Sterile-
canned?
Steroid guy.
Oh, Lord.
He has a nickname. Why do they call him Steroid Guy?
So I'm watching,
That's
put
pretty creative. I mean, I think I figured this one out already.
needles in his stomach. Yeah.
His ass had toughened up by that point. He's just gonna break a needle. So, so did you actually get hit?
No, he missed, and one of the guys was there, and he's giant, and he kind of got in the way, so it didn't go crazy. But
Why was he trying to hit you?
well, because we were both given jobs to do, and like I was out there doing it all, and he wasn't anywhere, and I found him sleeping in the shack,
Nice.
and I was just like, "Hey, come on and help." He's like, fuck off." I was just like,
Delightful.
all right, and so I picked up a bag and just hefted on him.
What kind of bag?
Just like a giant duffel bag full
Oh.
of stuff, and I just tossed it on him in the corner and started walking out, and he just came flying out.
Oh, wow.
Like his eyes were bugged out and like all this stuff, and I'm like, oh. And he went and grabbed my throat, and then he threw one punch and it missed my face, and then one of the big guys got in there and got us apart.
Well, they
And
canned
they
him.
just
Huh?
canned him.
Oh.
They were just waiting for a reason too.
God, I don't think I've ever seen a fist fight on the job. A bona fide fist fight?
I don't think I have anywhere else.
I had a customer throw a punch at me once. So
What did you?
Were you working baggage?
I was working baggage.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you do to piss him off?
Yes.
We lost his bag. but-
Oh.
Yeah. So well,
So you just
didn't.
happened to be the guy.
I would just happen to be the guy there.
They're
He took a
just telling
swing
it to
at
him?
me. Yeah, and then well, actually no, he didn't throw a punch at me. He had a makeup case. His wife's like little carry-on, those like old
Oh,
1950s ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know.
The Samsonites. The
Yeah, I think it was a Sam. I don't think it was plastic. It
A
was
nice
like,
tackle box.
yeah, it's a
Kinda,
nice, it's
yeah.
a fancy tackle box, and it was up on the counter, and I was telling, okay, we're gonna get your bag and stuff, and blah blah. I can see it in Dallas, and the guy was just getting madder and madder and madder, and eventually he just picked it up and threw it right at me. And I caught it like this, right in
Whoa!
my face, and he threw it back at me. He tried coming around the counter, and I bolted in the office. So, yeah, that was an American. That was after 9/11. So everybody was all like, you know, on edge and shit. Yeah.
Wow.
The only time I know, like, who was it? Jeff can help me with this one. One of the guys that we worked with got pushed by a customer, if I'm not mistaken, into the baggage carousel.
yeah, Robert.
Yeah, that was Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah, just shoved him right in the back, you know. But the airport was weird, man. That's where people would lose their minds.
But yeah, Al pushed Robert.
Oh yeah, one of our coworkers did that. Okay, I have seen violence, but it was all there. And that's where Greg like threw that stapler and hit, or no, Al threw a stapler at Greg and hit him in the nuts with it.
Okay, no, tell the story, because this one we could tell that's what you get for being greedy.
Oh yeah, that's what you get for being greedy.
Tell the story, people.
I don't remember how it started. Let's see.
Okay, so here's what I remember.
Yeah.
There was a group coming in when there was nothing going on. And
Right.
Al made arrangements to handle this group, and so he printed up a whole bunch of tags in advance while you guys could have helped.
Oh yeah, he didn't want to split the tip.
Correct.
Yeah. And so this Broadmoor bus pulls up and dumps off a shitload of golfers or something like that, because Al had inside information that they were coming. And so he tried to hog it all for himself, and they stiffed him. So
No, he got $20.
Oh yeah, okay, maybe he got.
Because I think he tipped you to run it inside, or whoever was.
I was at Skycap at that
or
time.
somebody who was bag
Yeah.
running. He gave the whole tip to that guy to run all those tons of bags in.
Yeah, I don't remember, but anyway, like he didn't get like a nickel compared to what he should have got for that load, and he was so damn greedy that we were all kind of like, well, that's kind of what you get. But we had this one guy there named Greg who was really cool. He just would not let it go.
You have to
was
explain
like-
who Greg is for people to get the full picture of
Yeah.
why it's funny.
Greg is like the 6'6" former Marine,
Presidential guard.
And
presidential
also,
guard.
You
Yeah,
guys have mentioned Greg in the past,
we have.
just not this Greg.
No, this is a very different guy.
Oh,
Right,
that is a
right,
good
yeah,
distinction.
yeah,
Why don't we call him Airport Greg?
Because he was a 6'6" Marine, and the guy who lived on our street was decidedly neither of those. So, but anyway, where the fuck was I in that story?
So you and Greg had
He wouldn't
nothing
let it
going on.
go.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't let it go, and so Greg just starts like just hounding Al on this thing. He's like, "That's what you get."
And
So
who was
when you're
that?
greedy, that's what you get.
Who was out? Describe Al in comparison to Greg.
Al was, my dad used to call him Mario because he looked like Mario from Mario and
all right,
Luigi.
all right.
So except for he was bald. So
Ooh.
he was kind of a cross between Mario and the Critic, if you remember.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow, I haven't thought of that.
So, but he was generally a pretty cool guy, but he was a little money hungry. So
Yeah.
you had to kind of watch yourself when you worked with him because he would jack you out of good customers. So if you weren't paying attention, but if you called him on it, he was actually pretty cool about it most of the time. But Greg would not let him go, and Al got so mad that he picked up a stapler and hucked it at Greg and hit him right in the balls with it. Right on the curb, right in front of like 4 or 5 of us and a couple passengers. And, shit. And Greg just keels over. I mean, he just like folds in half like a chair. So, and Al is like suddenly realizing that
Uh-oh.
just like clocked this,
That's exactly what I
fucking
wanted to
murderer.
do,
Yeah.
but that is not what I wanted to do.
He left. He left before Greg could recover. So, and I wasn't there when they actually got back in together, on shift or something like that. I don't
He's like
remember.
looking around corners.
Well, and Greg was a part-time guy. He was only there like maybe 2 days a week. So, because he had like 5 fucking jobs. He was one of those crazy guys who was trying to speed run his retirement. Because he had that, and he had like a car wash, and he had like a Korean restaurant. Or no, it was Filipino, right? Yeah, his wife was Filipino.
Yep.
Yeah, restaurant, and then he had
Is he going to
a
retire
full-time
in the
job.
Philippines?
I don't think so. I think
I don't think so, because if he was, he would have done it all.
Okay.
yeah, he would have done it already because he had so many irons in the fire that I had a student once, and he worked at like the post office for a couple of years. And then he decided, okay, I've got enough money, and he jet to the Philippines and lived like a king.
That's what
So,
one of the
yeah.
other guys did. He worked nonstop for like 2 years and was just like, bye.
Yeah. No, this guy opened up like 3 or 4 subways over there. Yeah, and he was like, I'm good.
And Greg that dude was always enterprising. That was his shtick. He always had like some magazine or something, and there was always thought of, I need to get in on this.
Yeah, it was like
Someone's gonna get in
entrepreneur,
this.
fast money. He would just gobble those things up.
Fast money. How is your Bitcoin this week?
It's great.
Oh, it's down.
It's not at
It's
the
down
record
today.
level.
Yeah, it's still above 60,000. It's at
Yeah,
61,000.
Oh,
man.
so it's
Yeah.
the same point it was
Fine.
last week.
Yeah, it isn't at 66,000, which
Oh, is
was
that what it peaked?
It
yeah,
peaked at 66.
it broke its old record. But given the fact that the previous week started at like 53, I'm fine. I'm fine if the curve looks like this and then like this, because it still ends up higher
Oh,
on
yeah.
the.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he was always like thinking of some kind of.
Greg probably bought some Bitcoin.
He probably did. You know, as a matter of fact, if there's anything.
What, like 20 years ago?
Oh, it
no
started
way.
in 2011, so
No.
it's only
Oh.
been 10 years.
No.
10 years.
Yeah,
It
no,
wouldn't.
he probably wouldn't have done that. I do remember having a conversation probably in 2012 with Wayne, one of my partners at that first school that I taught at. He was like, seriously, like, it's like, well, it's free. You can just mine it and put it in storage.
The guy I was working with on the rig.
Oh, that guy who was mining in like 2015 and
With
threw all his shit
somebody
out.
else's power. Yeah.
Yeah, with the rig power. Just non-stop mining.
But he sold all of it.
I'm sure he kept some, but he
See-
didn't ever send me a text saying, "I'm rich, I'm out."
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, see, that's what I think about it too, because even though we had that thing that we were working on back in 2012, and honestly, you couldn't figure it out. And then what was it? What was the exchange that went down back then?
What's that?
There was an exchange back then that went Tango Uniform.
Oh,
So, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. Mount Gox, so was the one that got wiped out, and so a lot of people lost their money. So I probably would have lost my money right there. And then the other thing is when it spiked in 2017 up at like 17,000, I would have been out. So at that point in
right.
time, there's no freaking way I would have held on to it till now. So, that's back when I had a lot of bills, and stuff.
You're
but,
talking
yeah.
about that guy that back then paid 14 or something bitcoins for a pizza.
Oh yeah, the $1 billion pizza.
Yeah.
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 So it was more than that.
And it was
Yeah.
weird that they actually accepted it.
It was just a local pizzeria
Yeah.
too. The guy's like, sure, whatever, I'll make you a fucking pizza.
Probably made shit
So,
pizza too.
probably made shit pizza.
Probably. Yeah, and see, that's why I don't see Greg as more like Bitcoin, but I do see him bidding on storage units.
Yeah, he probably did that. But I mean, he had like 3 or 4 streams because he was a federal retiree,
Yep.
or he was going to be a federal retiree. He was 20 years military, so the guy looked like he was 23, but he was actually like in his late 40s.
Yeah.
So he did not look. And then he say, "Oh, he's like, yeah, I was presidential guard under Reagan." We were like, "What?"
wow.
I was like, "Were you 4?"
Yeah. At least tell me it was a second term.
Yeah, I don't even know. So, but and then he fought in the Gulf War. The Iraq won. So yeah. So, I don't know what we call. I think we still call that one the Gulf War. So, and then the one that,
Yeah.
2003 is the Iraq War, if I'm not mistaken.
We can refer to it as Desert Storm.
Desert Storm. Yeah.
That's true. It was Desert Shield before it was Desert Storm too. So that's back when we used to name things. So
Right?
Yeah.
Because they were wars.
because they were actual wars.
They were, police actions.
These sections. Yeah, the AUMF. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Here's your ticket.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing that came up about Bitcoins, it was, again, I was lucky enough to have a student from Venezuela.
Oh.
And from a conversation I was having with her brother and doing a little bit of research, it is amazing the things that people in Venezuela are accepting as money that isn't Venezuelan currency. There are sections that are actually paying for haircuts with gold.
Actual gold?
Yes.
Gold.
Interesting.
They are flaking off gold and paying for their things because evidently there are 3 currencies. Well, the 4. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess the region is like broken off into blocks. So one region is gold. The biggest section doesn't use their crappy dollar; they use ours.
That's pretty
Which
common
makes
now.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
There is a section that is using digital currency, and there's a section that is using pesos.
Pesos.
But they are using
like Mexican pesos? Got it.
but they are using everything except their own crappy currency because they keep adding zeros to it.
So what's going on with Venezuela? I don't really know the story.
Well, it is the best modern example that communism is a fraud.
Is it really communism though, or is it fake communism like China?
Well,
I mean, are they actually trying to do social programs and shit, or are they do you just have a klepto government that says it's communist? Because that seems to be more common than people who actually give it a shake.
well, there is some of that. Well, okay, the problem with communism, and keep in mind this has come up a lot because I have a student that's reading Anthem this week, and we're going through this. So I really get the bag on communism. It's good. But the now keep in mind his father fled Soviet Union, Russia, so there's no love
Gotcha.
for communism here. But so the issue here is that Venezuela had one market that was booming.
Oil, right?
Correct. How's oil doing
Actually, it's not bad right now.
right now?
Right, yeah.
Comes
But
and
there was a
goes.
long stretch that it was rough.
Correct. And when all of your eggs, not some, not half, but all of your eggs are in oil, right? And you have this, and it's something that you can use basically like with your government. Okay. My understanding is that they're Maduro, I think is his name.
Yeah, I don't really know that much about him.
Like,
So
he was like giving money away. They were like doing like game shows where he's like just giving away houses and stuff like this. They were flush.
what, to actual people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were so flush with this, right? And then your one commodity crashes, right? But you still have a central, like, nearly totalitarian, completely corrupt government, right? So everything that you can make work is done through handshakes and illicit things.
So is communism the problem here, or is it authoritarianism that's the problem?
I argue that the two things cannot be divorced.
Okay.
Is there any place that actually is running pure communism?
I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't think
Yeah.
so. Because people are people.
Well, yeah.
Whoever's going
So-
to be in charge is going to be in charge.
Oh, in
And
some
you're gonna-
respects, yeah.
You're
but,
going to end
you
up
know.
wanting to live a little bit more lavishly than everyone else. And
Well, that's the whole Soviet system is all based on, oh, that guy gets a nice car. You know, it's not that he makes a lot more money. He gets a better apartment in a dacha, you know, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, and what you don't sort out on an official level gets handled in the black or gray market
right.
afterward. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, like the Soviets were a little bit different. I mean, they actually did have like healthcare and shit.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like China, so where you don't get these things. So
what does China do?
nothing. That's the thing that's shocking about it. So,
So if you get sick,
Well, they are technically part of a social program. However, you still have to pay.
yeah, you have to pay for it.
But
okay.
Kind of the trade-off you want from communism. It's like, well, these should be free.
but when you come down to it, they say, all right, well, how much does it cost? They tell you the price. Then you put it in comparison to what the average person earns. It's
Right.
half their yearly salary.
Yeah, it's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh.
Yeah.
For like health insurance?
No,
No, for a
visit.
procedure. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good
That's
Lord.
why, yeah, things like, you know, herbal tea is really popular.
Ah,
yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
We are going natural. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. That is.
That blew my mind when I found that out. I didn't know that.
No, because
So-
I'd heard other stories of how it was figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poverty wasn't a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And how did they solve poverty, Patrick?
They just said that they solved it.
Put out a press release.
And
Yeah,
no,
we
they
put out
did
a
one other
press
thing.
release.
They did one other thing.
We pencil whipped our own numbers in the beige book. Yeah.
We changed the definition of
Right.
what poverty means.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. We put the goal line on R2.
Yeah.
It's easy enough. It's on wheels, right? This really is not a problem.
Lower the number enough, and yeah, poverty just disappears.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great world then.
Yeah. No, I don't really know the whole story behind Maduro and stuff like that. I know that, like, there was a time there where it was getting weird because the U.S. government was messing with him on something. I don't know what all that
I don't
was.
know the
Yeah.
whole story. These are all like the bits and pieces that I've gathered from conversations plus because the whole thing started when I was being told like, hey, we're putting together like a Christmas package.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. Well, what kind of cool things did you get? And
Band-Aids.
it was close.
Close, yeah.
It was close.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was closed. And it was, why close? Like, well, let me tell you how expensive clothes are down there. And this is one of the problems. And don't get it twisted. We have supply chain problems in this country and around the world, but ain't nothing like that.
Those fucking supply chain problems will sort themselves out. I'll bet you money on that.
Before Christmas?
Probably. So, because I'm going to tell you exactly who's fucking it up. It's not the Port of Los Angeles. It's not Long Beach. It's fucking railroads.
Really?
I guarantee it.
Tell me more.
Guarantee it.
What do you know?
So, I know a little bit about intermodal terminals. So,
I think that's the one thing that hasn't been said. It's all the truckers or the port or...
No. Union Pacific and BNSF, they're having fights with their unions right now over COVID shots. So, yeah.
So it's the president.
Huh?
So it's the president.
It's not the president, dude. So
Making the COVID vaccine kind of thing?
they don't give a shit about that. So it's the company is more than happy to find something that half of its workers are going to jump ship off so they can go to single-man crews. They've been trying to do it for 30 fucking years.
Okay.
So
all right. We went through that.
yeah.
Remote.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason on the face of the planet why you can't run trains remotely other than the fact that they're cool and you want that job.
It's a good job.
It's a fun job, man. Running
it pay
trains
well?
is fucking fun. So
Does it pay?
It pays great. It has shitty hours. I mean, terribly shitty rando hours, but it is a cool gig. So, if you can get one. So,
Gotta know a guy that knows a guy.
you got to know a guy who knows a guy.
Yep.
We used to do all our hiring. It was like, yep, you're that dude's cousin? Okay. If
Can you work tomorrow?
Yeah, well, no, we'd have to put
Can
you
you
through
piss
all the
clean?
shit.
Right,
yeah,
right.
You piss clean, that's number one question. And number two is okay, so your cousin works here, so if you're a fuck up, he's going to kick your ass. You got that? Yeah, okay. No problem. You're hired.
I guess I didn't hear of it, but some of the guys that I'm working with are just like, yeah, we were supposed to do a piss test, but that's never happened.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm like, no, if you have to do a piss test, they usually are like, when you're hired, they're like, you're going to have to pass.
You have to do this.
They'll let you know. So it's not just a thing they slip in there. Like,
No.
it is a well-known thing.
You get to it when you get to it.
But,
right.
like, at one of the oil field jobs I was at, they'd always be like, hey, you're good to take your piss test, right?
Go pee for me.
And they're like, yeah. They're like, okay, you have a random
Quote, random, yeah.
It's like, wait, what? Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm good.
No.
I heard back in the day that there was one or two guys peeing for a whole team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was kind of like that at the airport. So there were a couple guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
the pilots and stuff?
No. These just guys, luggage monkeys.
You guys have to do piss?
Oh, yeah. Anything that's DOT. So we all had SIDA badges. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's the authorized access. The place that was definitely the most strict was the railroad, though, because they,
Well, that was the one thing that you could get in trouble for, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So we called it a Rule G. So if you got a DUI while you're on the railroad, they put your ass through basically, AA, and said if you don't pass this, you're canned.
Wow.
You could do all kinds of. You could smash into millions of dollars worth of TVs because you weren't paying attention. You could derail $8 million of locomotive and nobody cared. But if you pissed hot, you were in trouble. So.
Did you tell me there was a trick that guys would do? Well, I don't want to say a trick necessarily, but I seem to recall you saying there was this thing where the conductors would come to a perfect stop and then purposefully screw it up.
Yeah, they'd roll about 6 inches on a red light to trip it, so they got a month off. Yeah, because you got quote unquote fired if you did that. So, yeah, but they were really strict on. I mean, that was kind of one of those things we all kind of knew that you did that, and we were like, "You're a fucker," kind of thing, because we had to do a lot of paperwork and shit. So,
was there a name for that? Was there something that they
No.
called that? Okay,
not that I can recall. So, but they were so strict. We would do hiring halls, and where I was, this was the best job you could get. So it was either work there So you worked for the railroad, you worked for the sugar plant, which was terrible, or you slung meth for a living. Like those three options. So we would have hundreds of people show up to our hiring halls, and they would not mess around. They did the full blown hair test at that time.
Yeah.
This is 15 years ago, and so we had and they were wise to it because I remember there was one day this guy shows up and he was completely bald
Yeah.
shaven and stuff like that.
Like,
No
we'll take
eyebrows.
we'll
He had
take
no
your
eyebrows,
armpits.
man.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and that's what and I mean, my boss picked him out right away. He was like, "Hey, can you take a hair test today?" And the guy's like, "Well, no, I'm this is hygienic." And he's like, "Get the fuck out." So he's like, "Get out." So if we can't even pick a hair from your ass, then you're up to something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and they would do that. And I think the hair tests were good for like
6 months or so.
Oh, I don't know if it's that
Well,
much,
I
but
think
it's
it
a long
depends
time.
on-
It's at
depends on how
least a
long
couple
your hair
months.
is.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know of that because they can just pick like something from your ear and do it.
Yeah, I don't know how long.
I don't know.
But
All I know is when I went in, and I wasn't completely bald then, but I had just like a tiny bit of fuzz.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they do
had
your
to,
leg.
they did my chest.
Yeah. Pull it right out of your nipple.
No. They took out the shave. They give
Oh,
you
they
that,
shave it.
They
Yeah.
give you that one blade plastic razor, and they take a piece of paper
Yeah.
and they try to scrape it
Oh,
off.
no shit. See, I never watched the hair test, so we had a nurse there who would do them. So
Well, we had to do this at the. I will say this: the Baker drug tests were for real. They were
Oh, yeah.
very official, and once you went to that medical center, and once they started the thing, that is that.
yeah, you're in.
Yeah.
They're gonna catch you.
They're gonna watch you. Yeah, they're gonna.
Oh yeah, they do direct observation.
100%.
Oh god,
Yeah.
I hated doing that, man. I had
Mine
to do
wasn't.
that.
Well, I mean, they
Yeah.
don't watch you.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have to pee. Like they didn't. I think there was only one time I had to pee with somebody watching. The rest of the time, nah.
No, they
Yeah.
just don't flush a toilet.
Yeah, don't flush the toilet. They have tape over all the stuff.
Oh no.
No,
When we had a guy.
You had to watch, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
if we
you
had a
had
guy, because we had a couple guys and they got ruled cheat, and then they do their thing, and then they come back, and then they had to do 6 months of direct observations, which meant whenever that guy came in the yard, it was like, all right, dude, drop trowel, get going.
Every time.
Every time.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my god, they were strict about it, and it was like, it was one of those things where there was like one kid, and he'd come in every week, kind of thing, because he had a bad meth problem before. And he swore he was gonna get clean and all that shit. And I watched him pee like 6 times, and on the 7th time, he fucking pissed hot. He just couldn't make it, man. So and it was like one of those things. I got trained for that. It was like, you must watch the urine exit his body, and I was like, oh, I just want to do this.
Like, how close?
Right. Yeah. So
I have to be like right over it.
yeah, they had to face you. So
Yeah, you can get pretty tricky with some of those things. So.
oh yeah, they showed me all these like
Gadgets
things
and
and
all.
gadgets, and so some of it's like pretty kind of like literally tape and aquarium tubing, and then others are like, wow, that's a dildo, got it. Right. So oh man, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Oh yes.
Oh no, man.
Leave the house to work.
I don't want to be a manager anymore. After that, I was like, nah, I don't want to be in charge of nothing. So-
Close to not having to leave the house anymore.
yeah?
They made it so weekends we get to stay home.
Oh, okay.
So all it'll be is 3 days 1 week going into the office and 2 days the other. So
Oh, so 3 and 2 now, 3 and 4?
well,
Oh, that's nice. Oh, going in the
weekends.
office. Got it.
Yeah.
So you're still working 3 on, 4 on.
right now I'm doing 9 to 5 days a week just for training.
Right.
But eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
It goes like 2 and then 2 days off, then 3 days working, and then 2 days or however it works out. But
Yeah. I
not bad.
don't know, man. I remember working 12s.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can't. I was never able to decide whether or not I liked it. So
To get solid days off,
yeah, but
it's
see, like
worth it.
when I worked 12s, I did not get solid days off. So I mean, it was like, all right, if something bad happens, I'm going to the
Yeah.
office, you know.
See,
Kind of
I don't.
thing.
I won't have
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah. I
and
don't
like
know.
we have disconnect days.
Hmm.
They're just like, you guys just need extra days off just to
What the fuck?
pull away from work.
What is that?
What is this?
Because we have, I guess we have like 10 holidays, and then there's like an extra
Like it
seven
floats?
Jeez.
seven disconnect days, and then we get like 20 paid days off.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Oh yeah,
Dang,
this
man, it's
company
like
is amazing.
slathering it on you.
We're 98% of the company is getting a raise,
Right, yeah, you
coming up,
did that last week.
and they said that the cutoff date was if you started before October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
My start date was September 26th.
Yes! Score! Score!
I'm like, sweet.
Yeah. God, I haven't had a raise in years. I'm gonna think of it.
Yeah, how do they do that?
They don't. So it's a simple state employment. They're kind of like, you know.
You don't even
so-
get like a 3%, like just.
I think we got a
inflation?
COLA adjustment like 2 years ago, but it was only like 1.5%. So it didn't even keep up with Social Security's like COLA rate. So,
Wow.
that's just state employment, though, man. I mean, the state's so fucking broke when it comes to like dishing out money for higher ed. Higher ed is like one of the last things that gets paid anymore. So, like, because there's only 2 mandatory spending programs as far as the state's concerned. It's Medicaid and the prisons. Those are the only
Huh.
2. Yeah. And so all your K-12 comes after that, you know, and then of course higher ed comes after K-12. And then, you know, like your
Roads, all
DMVs and your roads and all that shit. So, you know.
Wow.
And I mean, higher ed's easy. It's just like, well, just gouge the students more.
Right.
Now, wait a second. Okay, so here's a question I have for you because I have been reading some things about your living proof in terms of companies having to make adjustments to guarantee retention, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And I've heard other industries doing this as well, although I hear that there's a big battleground right now about where people want to be, where the employers want them to be, because there's this push of, I want this like pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And people are saying, pre-COVID sucked. I just couldn't find another job, right?
Yeah.
And is there no version of like accommodation happening in higher ed at all? Is there any version of them trying
Oh,
to...
no, it's completely fracturing. So it's going multiple directions. So ultimately, depending on what kind of school you are, so like CC's not going to change shit.
No,
They don't
fine.
have to.
They're
They
good.
got a couple
They're
billion
fine.
dollar endowment. They'll do their things in their fucking Hogwarts castle down there. You know.
been there.
Yeah, no, I
There's
know.
real magic.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Woke magic. But anyway.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand their power
comes.
comes from unshaven armpits.
Well, that's horrifying, but it's also true. So, so you know, then your feeder schools like mine, you know, they're just, you know, they'll go wherever the students go, you know, and so like I'm going to tell you right off the bat, about half of mine are fully committed to just doing the online thing forever because they work, you know, they work or they have kids or whatever. You know, I mean, I imagine it's like that at all the community colleges too now. You know, but anything that could qualify as a commuter school. The only people who are in residence on my campus anymore are fucking athletes, and that's about it. Athletes and exchange students. We actually have a couple of those now.
Oh,
I know. I was shocked. So,
wow.
yes, I have one from Germany and one from Sweden. I was like, did you guys get stranded here?
We've been wandering around, just decided to go to
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, so like,
Not to conform.
yeah, no, I don't think I don't think that guy actually wants to go back. So, come to think of it,
The story you told me about.
he says his job prospects
30
here are
years
better.
of
Yeah.
destiny that laid before him that was unchangeable.
Nope, you're penciled in. So you're going to go work at, you know, Saab or whatever, and you're going to start out, you know, at the bottom, and and
man.
you're going to work your way up, and that's just the way it works, man.
And you'll be taken care of. But
Oh, absolutely. And you get
but-
your 6 weeks of vacation a year and all that stuff, and, you know, you free health care and all the cool things that come with German state.
think
But
they-
you are not getting promoted until it's your turn. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's not like an economy thing. That's just a culture thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
So from what they explained to me, it's like it is not okay to job hop over there. It shows that you're unreliable. So
right.
here in the United States, I've had 14 jobs. So, and I'm a little bit of a front runner on that. I'm looking at people now who are going to have like 10 within the next 3 years. Yeah. So
I have 3 now.
that's true. Yeah. Well, I guess if you run them concurrently, they still count, don't they?
I mean, if you count, the work my computers do as a job.
I count that as a business. Yeah.
Investment,
yeah, that's a business.
Yeah.
That's your coin op car wash. So
I understand that. No, it's weird. It's because that's the other piece you talk about, the culture basically being inseparable from the economy itself. They become sort of their own, entity. It's kind of like we constantly joke about certain parts of like the Eastern Asian model that are just positively
cruel,
baffling. Well, cruel, but yes, the whole idea of you're not working, you just want to look like you're working.
Yeah,
that's more important. You want to look like you're always here.
Yeah, they're gonna check your time card, not your effort. Yeah, so I don't get that.
If I was in Germany, and if you're taken care of,
sure,
as long as you didn't despise your job,
right,
and to never stress about, you're like, I don't need ambition.
Dude,
I don't
it's
need
an
this.
economy made for my dad, so he would have loved it.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. I'm sure they would have found some kind of fishing related.
6 weeks of vacation a year is a shitload of fishing. That's more vacation. That's triple the vacation he ever got, on his job.
Got 2 weeks. That's.
He got 2 weeks, and he got pretty good at figuring out how to like game comp time and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I talked to my students about, they're like, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, "Don't worry about it. You're never gonna see it." Yeah. So those are old school things that just are irrelevant now.
Shit, you might have. You want to talk about crazy language? You just say like, "What's a sick day?"
Right.
Oh, you have a PTO bank.
That's what I have.
You have a PTO bank, which is
the PTO is bullshit. So
they have sold this as better for you.
Oh, it's more flexible. You can just take days off, instead of that. It's like, well, if I'm fucking sick, I'm burning through my vacation days. That's ass.
What do you do when you're out of PTO and you're sick?
Right. I go unpaid, and I have to go get a doctor's note now. So otherwise it's an unexcused absence, which counts as a write-up.
I don't know what happens. I haven't asked that question.
Don't get to that point. Yeah. So like most companies, they switched over from sick time and PTO because like there's two main reasons, and it's not the first reason that's really the important one. The first one is, of course, they want to actually, force you to burn through some of your vacation time so they can save some money. So the real reason why a lot of big companies did it in particular was because people had accumulated like 6 to 8 months of PTO sick time, and then they were either contractually obligated or just felt morally obligated to pay it out towards the end. And so they were tired of cutting these multi-$1,000 checks to, basically Bob Punchclock at his retirement, because he had saved up 4 years worth of sick time. So,
Yeah, well, see, because there's a problem with how they communicated. There's a problem with that mentality where it needs to be well known that if you're sick,
stay
home.
Absolutely.
Right? But there's this version of it. It's like, oh, that dude's sick and he stayed home.
God, you think of one thing in the workforce that COVID would have cured people, it would be that.
Yeah.
It's like if you're sick, stay the fuck home. And now people are like, nah, I'm going to work.
Well, I like the opposite of is, well, if I have a way to never be around bodies again, I think we're going to try to aim for that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We're going to have to see how, like, the work from home kind of trend goes. I think it'll actually be something that only certain people in certain fields will be able to pull off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking, like, with a lot of the churn and stuff that's going on out there, like, if you really want to be competitive and put your best foot forward in a good company, you're going to be the guy who shows up 5 days a week. So.
Well, and that was one of the things that I was reading about when it came to that transition, when they were talking about basically the stuffy guys, the guys with the money, the guys that run the company, and they were basing it off themselves. They were saying, like, well, we should have everybody back because we like being here 5 days a week.
Right. It justifies my management position. That's the one thing out there that I think COVID like kind of showed that, like, with companies in particular. I mean, I've known this for years. This is the shit that I work. This is what I do for work. You tell people why your company's stupid and why you shouldn't be working here. It's like there is so much management out there. It's crazy, and you don't need any of it, man. So, but that's what it is. It's like, oh, I got to be regional assistant manager before I can be regional manager, before I can be senior regional manager, before I can be a VP, kind of thing. It's like, you don't need any of these fucking guys, I mean, so.
You look at the management list and it's actually more tiered than the fucking army ranks. And
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, certain industries are worse than others. See, like, when I worked for the railroad, it was a really flat organization. So there are only.
Was Baker.
Yeah. So, like, my COO was like 2 phone calls away from me. All right. And that motherfucker would call me from time to time, and he was scary. So,
that dude who like really. Was that the guy that knew how to chew people out with?
Oh, God. Yeah. He was ruthless.
Extreme prejudice?
Oh, yeah. Well, he wouldn't chew me out. I was too far down on the totem pole. He would chew the shit out of my boss, though. So, if I fucked something up. So.
Was that the guy that tore in him for not muting the...
No, that was a different guy. That guy would tear into me. So, yeah, that was a different guy. He did, actually. In front of the entire, like, service unit. So, he was an asshole.
But he was good, though. He was
no,
good
he
in his
wasn't.
job.
He was a terrible boss, man.
Oh, okay.
So, he was one of these guys who, like, he did all this branding and stuff. Like, oh, we're the safety guys. And stuff, and it was all fucking smoke and mirrors, man.
He was that guy.
He was that guy.
Okay.
He was pretty good at torching people for his problems. So
I like Tom Hanks' line. The complaints, they always go up. Don't go down. They
Right.
always go up.
Oh, yeah.
No, that didn't work. So, but it was pretty flat. I mean, there wasn't that many layers of management, which meant, like, the few managers that were there were really fucking powerful. But then, like, I see, like, I do all this work with these nursing students, and, like, every hospital is, like, 5 armies worth of bureaucracy. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's set up with a lot of people who would happily knife you in the back for just a little bit more juice. And I don't mean money, just the ability to order some other people around.
Oh, yeah.
I am not picking on nurses as a whole, but there is there is just this little bit. It's like, if I have this much power than that bitch, then my life is complete.
Yeah, no, there is something about the medical field in particular, and like anybody who works in the medical field will instantaneously recognize what I'm talking about. There's a lot of know-it-allism that goes on there. Yes. And so if you go through that much school and then all of a sudden you realize that you're working the graveyard shift on shitty days off because that's just the nature of the business, you get a little mad about that. And then, of course, everybody's like, oh, well, I had to do that.
Yeah, dick in the ass theory. We've talked about this. Yeah, we've talked about this at great length.
Yeah.
Probably not on the podcast, but just the whole... Oh, well, I got fucked when I was, coming up here. You should get fucked too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, have you ever stopped to think that this stupid system? Does anybody have to take the dick in the ass? Can we get dispensed with this? No. Oh, yeah, because we talked about it in education. The whole, well, I was raised up this way, and I'm a good student, ergo, this must be the only successful way. Dick in the ass. So, dick in the ass.
I had to teach 7th graders first, and so now you got to teach them now. Yeah, This is just like the worst way to actually run
so dumb
any organization, and it's just keeps happening, man.
It's just sanctioned hazing. That's all it is.
Well, what it is like, so if you go through some kind of hazing like that, you feel almost obligated to pass it on. Otherwise, what's wrong with you? Yeah.
Yes.
So,
are you some kind of communist?
Right, what makes you special? Yeah,
right.
So
then you're the Pete Carroll of.
Right, Pete Carroll.
you're the players' friend.
Right.
Yeah, because you don't want to play ball with the. That's right.
That's like the worst stuff, man.
That's right. That was the analogy I gave. Was the Korean tradition. The Korean
the dog. Yeah.
Yes. Do you not know this story? This was the story that our uncle told me. He was talking to me basically about Korean hierarchy in families.
Oh, yeah, like they all have a dog.
Yes.
So the youngest kid has something to punch on?
Yeah. The stupidest thing is, well, the second to youngest broke this plate. So you have to take it out on the oldest child who then has to go down the list of people until you get to that second last person who screwed up.
Yeah, that's a messed up system.
It's terrible. I think there's maybe just like a little bit left, but you're certainly welcome to it.
You want any?
I'm flush, man.
Sorry, I got a splash.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the same. It's the same concept. Everybody gets it, but it was dumb to start with.
Well, the worst thing is when people defend it, you know?
Ardently.
So,
Well, the only thing you can defend it is that's how it was done to me.
Yeah, well, and I think the defense is, not it's just that it was done to me, but it's like almost validating. It's like, well, all that suffering that I went through, it's good because I have to pass that on to other people now. And so it's almost like a liberating thing when you actually haze somebody. It's fucking weird, man. So I see it in companies all the time.
Oh.
And so, like, we'll go and we'll do some consulting with some guys, and instantaneously, oh, you're the problem, okay? Because you're just a horrible human being who likes to abuse people, you know? And so, oh, but you're signing checks, so, do you want to quit your job? Do you want to give up all this power that makes you feel good about yourself? No. So,
Yeah, I'm certainly not defending it. I don't think there's anything. I don't really think there's necessarily anything about that system that has merit. The biggest problem.
your dog just jacked your seat.
No, the biggest issue that I have with that is you can't question the system without questioning the person. Because at that point, it's like, well, I took my lumps, and that's why I'm giving them back. Well, was that dumb? No, because I turned out great. Are you saying that I didn't?
Yeah.
No, I'm just asking if that's the best way to have gotten there.
You know, but everybody looks at like the military as an example where that actually works, because they take you into boot camp, they break you down, they turn you into something new, and it actually does work. And so they see, oh, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm making you a better employee by abusing you.
Oh, yeah. You put the tough love sign up above the door.
That works when you know what you're signing up for. Like, when you go to the military, you expect that. When you go get a job, like...
Wendy's.
Oh my god, and why is that? Why do you have some of the most tyrannical people in charge of the shittiest places? I don't get that, man.
Because that's the top of their world.
What's the worst boss you've ever had?
Well, don't use his first and last name.
Sack job.
Okay. Is that a nickname, or is that what you're calling him?
It's his nickname, but with your 431, it rearranges your.
Okay.
So it takes your first four of your last.
Yeah,
name.
you don't need to identify him.
Right.
What I'm just curious is like, where was he working? So it's a he, right?
Yes.
Okay. So is this your last boss, or a couple bosses ago?
Yeah,
or is
it
this
was
like
the baker.
when you were a kid? Okay.
So.
All right. So what made him an asshole?
His arrogance.
Oh yeah.
Because he thinks he knows everything, and that all the people in the rest of the world know nothing.
Was he stupid?
Dumb.
It wasn't stupid.
No, he's sharp.
All right.
But he just, he was just a horrible human being. Like, there's stories of him getting punched out. There's stories of people coming to Baker to punch him out.
Yeah.
And getting stopped by security and things like that. And, like, people having to talk people down going, you do not want to lose your job.
Right.
Like, I knew a guy who was willing to lose his job.
He got punched in,
would have pulled his fucking eyeball.
What was it, Ireland? Or Scotland?
Oh, yeah, I saw the photos.
It was Ireland?
Yeah.
Because he went to a wedding.
What is Ireland? Oh, he was in Ireland when this happened?
He was in Ireland,
Oh, okay.
and he went to a wedding, and finally the baker guy got to see him completely off any grounds, and just busted him.
Yeah.
And he said that he got in a car wreck. But there were people that were there that snapped the photos and said he wouldn't have no car wreck. Because it was a guy that wasn't working for the company anymore. He also got invited to this wedding, and... We're talking about you're not my direct boss, but man, I still hate you. I'm in this other country where I could be detained by the Irish police, but I'm still going to lay you out because I can.
He was just a horrible human being.
Yeah, just a bad person. Yeah.
Terrible person.
Yeah.
He wasn't my Little Caesars boss, so he wasn't the first one.
Oh, I remember that guy.
Ken wasn't.
He wasn't that bad.
No.
He was just like... He was Mr. Little Caesars.
Yeah.
He was the guy who got his assistant manager title. And all of a
You got
sudden-
the watch, you got the
got
leather
the watch
jacket,
and the
yeah.
jacket. I thought it was a leather jacket, if I'm not mistaken.
He was so disappointed that I chose college over Little Caesars.
That was a terrible choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not
Could
too
have
late to
been a
recant.
manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been blessed. I haven't had too many bad bosses. So
Other than
They're
that
the
guy.
same
Yeah.
boss.
Jeff and I both had the same
yeah.
piece of trash.
Although I think I had more dust-ups with him than you ever did. He liked you.
I just never talked to him.
Right.
Yeah. Avoidance is a good strategy. I've had bosses that could have been terrible, but I just learned to stay away from them. Or like actively ignore them. Or send them on errands that, you know.
Well, to be fair, if I would have talked to him a lot, he would have known I was a fraud. Because I was with that company for a long time. And I really didn't know much other than literally doing my job.
Yeah, okay.
So, and he knew questions to ask that I would have been like, I don't know, boss. You've been with this company how long? That's a good point.
Right. You should know that, huh?
I should know that.
Yeah. No. There were a few people that I learned how to avoid. So, but I don't think I ever had one that was just like a raging, complete asshole.
Just had to be
I've had
pretty-
bosses who are stupid. So I've had my share of
There's
stupid
that.
bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't feel like we've had a chance to be positive. So, can you flip it around and tell me who's the best boss you've ever had and why?
The best boss?
Yeah.
This is gonna sound like a cop out, but honestly, I think it's my current dean. So
Well, why?
he's got this knack for like leadership, and especially watching him go through this entire fucking COVID thing and handle it like a champ, but still be human about it. It's kind of nice when you actually have someone who's like so secure in their position that they're okay to show, hey, this has really got me concerned, or hey, this is what I think we should do, and so since there's no other guidance, I'm going to run this way. But best thing about him is he's really good at herding cats. So
Right,
that is a
right,
talent.
right.
So
Like
I
It's
mean,
like a strip club.
when you're talking about faculty who are tenured and stuff like that, they do not do what they're told. And he's very good at somehow getting people to march in the same direction. I don't know quite how he does it, but he does. So, and he's very good about like, you know, people will bring up. So if you've ever been at a faculty meeting, okay, so I know you've,
Sure.
yeah, so this is where people get principled just for the sake of getting principled on stupid shit that is principled, okay, when really you're not going to change that policy, okay, so that, you know, we don't even set that in this building, okay, kind of thing, but I'm going to rail about that. Oh, you know, let me bitch about the high schools for a while. We need to fix the high schools. I was like, that's not even on this campus, man.
You have
So
a gang of people who have all been forced in their many, many degrees
Absolutely.
to read Thoreau. And
Right.
so they take some principled stands. And when you realize how much education you have versus how much juice you get for it,
right.
and people, they treat every meeting like a soapbox. This is my chance.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there were always guys like me and you where it's like, if an argument starts, I can slip out the back.
Oh yeah, I always bring my laptop. So
Right,
I'm
right.
like, well, I'm going to set up my classes and grade papers today.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
because if I'm on the clock, I'm going to do work. So rather than sit here and listen to you guys, all
You
right?
sneak. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would always sneak out. I'd grab 2 or 3 like McMuffins on the way out.
Yeah.
And I'm gone because as soon as there's a diversion, you know, it's like smoke pellets on the ground. I
Yeah.
don't. This doesn't concern me.
Yeah,
This is not why you guys came. You guys came to complain. But yes,
Yeah.
if you have somebody that can manage that effectively,
no,
that
he's
would make
he's very good at that. Honestly, like I don't know, the more bosses that I've had over the years, and so I've had 14 jobs. I've had at least twice as many bosses over the time, and I can think of like when you get a little bit older and you've seen a little bit more, you actually appreciate someone who's actually got some leadership talent. So let me just
Yeah.
put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's like the best manager that I've had. So, but he's certainly like a guy that if he asked me to do something tomorrow, I'll be like, yeah, okay.
You
I got
have
you.
on many occasions.
I got you, buddy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What about you?
My best boss was a Doherty, and I say this with no reservation, no dent to my ego. I have rarely, like maybe twice in my life, come across people that can just dwarf me intellectually. And the few times that it's happened, I was in complete awe because she didn't need to do that, right? It was clear at some point where, it's kind of like the guys that get a lot of pussy, they don't need to brag about it, right? It's just, wow, the small smidgen that you have opened this door that your knowledge, your depth of knowledge goes to. If anybody pried it open, you could take them to the mat 7 times over and win the Olympics.
Was
right?
she like the principal?
Nope. She was just the head of the department at the time.
Wow.
One of the rotating heads of the department at the time, because it would change, right? But when it came down to it, and when you see somebody that really knows their stuff, that was something I was completely in awe of. And you can wield that like a tyrant, right? You can constantly use that to try and put yourself in a better place, or you can just do your job. Yeah. And it was, hey, I'm doing my job, you're doing your job. If you have a question, come ask me. But yeah, because like we were talking about, is people that get just the slightest amount of juice and it goes to their heads, right? That little short fucker at the airport that ran our company.
Yeah.
That, you have a tiny bit of authority. I'm going to hide out in the plants and spy on my employees after hours.
Dude, that guy came from authority,
my God.
man. He was a fucking sergeant major before he got there. And so, like, you go from being a battalion sergeant major where you got like hundreds of guys, and then all of a sudden you gotta manage like 14 dudes at a checkpoint and 5 sky caps. And you treat them like like it's the Berlin Wall, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
That's what I'm saying is there's only like 2 levels of management in there, and he was at the top, and he treated it like it was.
Yeah, but you got to understand, like, it wasn't just because he had a little bit of juice. It's just that's the only way he knew how to do shit.
Well, yeah, he was like 5'6". That also.
Well, I get that, but I mean, you don't get to that level in the Army and then just change your ways the next day. Like, I think one of the more dangerous things you see is when you see
ass all over again.
No, I understand that, but like the more dangerous one is the ones where you see someone get promoted and all of a sudden they go bananas. So with
that's
power,
true.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
true.
that guy came with the power. I've seen other people who like, I got a raise, and all of a sudden I'm not allowed to talk to my friends anymore. Because like, I'm a manager, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Well, I understand that sometimes. I mean, that's how my dad described being an officer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because he didn't want to be.
Yeah.
Like,
can't hang out with the guys.
Hell yeah. It's like, so what do you want to do with your life? I was like, I'm going to get drunk with the guys.
Yeah.
And Mom was like, no, you're not.
No.
You got kids on the way.
Kids. Yeah. So.
It's like, I'm going to keep doing this and working at 7-Eleven. It's like, the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Are you listening to yourself right now?
Yeah.
Eventually he's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay.
All right, well, round us out.
Well, there's 2 things. Round us out on this, and then it's you got to give us your
Oh,
pick.
yeah, we need your picks.
I don't think I've ever had a boss that's like been inspiring or like anything game changing, but I'm gonna cheat and just say it's one of my best buddies, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was he your boss?
Technically, he ran the rig,
Yeah, he was...
but
he was the
driller. So technically, he was my boss. There was a guy higher than him on the rig, but
What made him
the
cool to
pusher.
work with?
he knew his stuff.
Yeah.
And even as gruff and angry as he sounded a lot, he was always looking out for all of his guys. Like, even when you didn't think anybody was watching, like, he's just like you're doing something stupid, he'd see you. Yeah. And so,
Well, the one time he had to straighten you out, it wasn't any hard feelings, right? Because
he fired me one day, but
He fired you?
because I told him I told him he was dumb, basically, because he kept yelling at me for like. So we send what's called a rabbit down the pipe,
Yeah.
and so it's going 90 feet and it's solid metal, and it shoots out the bottom of the pipe
Yeah.
and slams into the ground. And I mean, it's like 20 pounds, so it's a
Yeah, sure.
fast moving thing. And the guys, they usually hold the pipe so that it's only about 4 inches off the ground, and the rabbit's like a foot long, so it's going to hit the ground and stay inside the pipe. And so the guy, he's having me hold the pipe, and it's like 2 feet off the ground, and I'm like, no, this thing's going to shoot out like one way or another. I'm like, lower the pipe. And he's like, no, stand there. And I'm like, no, lower the pipe. I'm not having this hit me. He's like, and it's about him. He's the guy in charge, so you gotta just listen. But he's also my friend, and I'm like, dude, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, all right, get the hell off my floor.
You're fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got, everything gets done, wrapped up, and he's like, yeah, you just can't question me on the floor. I'm like, but it was stupid. He's like, I know, you just can't do it. I'm like, oh.
But he had to blow you
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, because he's the guy in charge. And I'm just like, all right. But yeah, we would grow up home together, and everything's fine.
Right.
But
Well, that's a tough thing to go nuclear on a friend,
yeah.
but you have to.
Yeah,
had to do it.
That's why I would never manage a friend again, ever. So, in fact, the last time I moved from one to the other, I actually ditched all my guys. So I was like, yeah, you guys got to put me somewhere else.
I heard
That was a hard lesson to learn, man. But it's tough.
I heard like in firehouses,
Yeah.
if you go up to lieutenant, you're not allowed to run your house for 8 years.
It probably
Oh,
depends on,
something like
on
that,
the,
6 to 8
it
years.
probably depends on the department, but yeah, I mean a big enough one like here maybe. So
Yeah, because it was just you're too close to the situation. You
Yeah.
have to be separated from it. I think it was like 6 or 8 years, something like that. Then you can come back, but you have to be separated from it.
yeah, no, that's a good way to do it. So, and there's definitely been some times where like I started to cross that line a little bit, and it was like, nah, actually I can't do that. So I just quit my job instead.
You can't tell me that you haven't had jobs where the boss had like a couple of cronies in the underlings.
Sure,
And
yeah.
you could
Oh, yeah.
always see like,
Yeah.
man, you can't. Even if you don't have special treatment going on, this looks.
It looks bad.
It's just a great way to get in trouble. So, more so than anything else. And I mean, like, God, the couple times that I did actually fraternize with employees and stuff, it was like one of those things. It was like, man, I really want a beer. It's like, that's a terrible idea. So, and I have students ask me that question all the time. I was like, no, don't ever do that unless it's okay. And be prepared for the consequences. So, it might be just fine. You might have an office where it's fine to go drinking with the boss. You might have an office where that's a terrible idea and it's a complete fucking trap. You don't know. But, hey, man, go have that beer. You'll find out.
All right, I need your lock of the week
Yep.
and your shock of the week.
So last week I was 2-0, so you can write it in, make some money.
You were informally 3-0.
Yeah, you picked the Patriots, too.
Oh,
Well, you got the game right.
Yeah. Yes, I did make money off all three. So this week is a little bit tougher. So my lock of the week, I'm going to take the Panthers, even though they're led by Darnold, and it's looking like a mess now. But their defense is good. The Giants are absolutely garbage. Carolina by 3. And for the shock of the week, I'm going to take them to do an outright win, even though they're underdogs by 6.5. I'm going to take the Bengals over the Ravens.
Nice.
Whoa!
That's a gutsy call, man.
It's the Bengals' time, and I just think the Ravens are frauds. And
You think they're fraudulent, huh?
they proved me wrong a bunch, but that Indy game was
you
just a
saw.
joke.
Yeah, that's a good call. Every time I pick the Ravens, they usually jack me. So,
It's time.
all right.
The Bengals are due.
You need to keep it running. Okay, so I'm also going
It's
write
easy to
down
keep
this
it
thing.
running total when you're undefeated.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, fuck. Okay. That's William. That's Patrick. I'm Jeffrey. Go fuck yourself, William. All right, go ahead. Hit the button and end this thing.
All right. See you, folks.
Take this crap.